on fiscal stimulus out of Germany in terms of fiscal expansion. The $500 billion infrastructure fund out of Germany is set to aggressively increase economic output by more than 2% over the next 10 years, accumulated with the organic growth, um, which is set to occur with a matter of great probability. GDP growth is set to come in on average over the next 10 years with an annual 3%. You need to consider this detail. Over the past 10 years, GDP growth came in at 2.2% annually. Goldman Sachs indicates this specific scenario is considered to be a Goldilocks scenario in terms of GDP expansion over a 10-year outlook. What we do immediately is link the output for GDP out of Germany uh, to Germany's role as a key pillar in the Eurozone economy. Another pivotal decision from Eurozone policymakers or out of Europe, we need to put in greater context is the large-scale stimulus effort intended by the European Commission to develop European military capabilities, which will in fact spur on European defense manufacturing. These this intent needs to be incorporated in the general outlook for the Eurozone economy as well. Another consequence of these two specific stimulus efforts, or one specific stimulus effort out of Germany, and the intent to bolster military capabilities in Europe must be viewed in this perspective. The debate on inflation is very much present in Europe as well as in the US. Substantial spending packages will likely have inflationary effects throughout the Eurozone in general. The economic reasoning is just the same as when we discuss the Build Back Better Act being a sizable contributor to above average inflationary period we saw post pandemic in the US. A critical issue out of China. When the tariff debate loomed, specifically from the US, businesses responded with an aggressive demand for products and services um, out of China, which would be considerably more expensive when tariffs would come in than when tariffs came into effect. That led to a high peak in volume in demand for products and services out of China. So before tariffs set in, the issue is since tariffs have been made effective across the board in China by the US, demand was affected by and price increases, and the aggressive spike in demand subsided very aggressively. This is the curve related to demand, um, demand for Chinese products and services related to tariffs. How the curve developed before tariffs came in effect, and the curve developed when tariffs effectively were set in. This is a two-tiered approach. This two-tiered approach is likely to have had a very aggressive impact on China's export-dominated economy. At the same time, we have cooling in domestic consumption, likely the second pillar of the Chinese economy. These two indicators are pointing to the downside, and there's a very specific issue in play. because of the short-lived period where there was a high degree of volatility, these readings can come in and indicate a certain spike to the downside, a spike to the downside in the overall Chinese economic activity. So it's going to be a bad news show, likely with the very, very poor indicators.